What's your deep web story? Hold on to your laptops, y'all, as we explore the deep dark web from the safety of YouTube. My name is Em, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video about the true horrors that lie beneath the screen. Story 1. I first learned about the deep web back in grade 10 when this really druggy kid in my grade was going on about it. We sat together in English and had a new teacher that wasn't quite good and didn't really know how to control the class, so the last 20 minutes or so, she would just let us do whatever. Everyone around this kid's desk, let's call him Eli, would crowd around his computer and watch him monkey around on Silk Road and weird other sites he found. Just drugs and hitmen and weird stuff in general. I was kind of sketched out by it, so I tried to avoid looking at it all. But I listened and it was pretty freaky. Eventually, Eli decided to order drugs from some site. This was high school, so we all lived at home. So he figured he'd order DMT to his cottage, go up for a weekend and pick it up to hide in his closet. So he typed in his address to some guy, worked out the details, and waited. Went up to his cottage the next weekend and we all waited for his return for the stories. Eli got back and we all ran up to him to ask if it worked. He said it didn't and he was really pissed since he had already paid the guy. He'd complained to whoever was selling him the drugs. The guy was really understanding and said he sent an even bigger package to his cottage. Eli went up the next weekend. Still nothing. The guy was very apologetic and said he'd send one more. Still nothing. Eli gave up and figured it was a guy trying to make a quick buck. He even gave up on the deep web and that was that. Months later, he goes up to his cottage with his family and has a big dinner party with the whole complex of cottages. He's schmoozing around and overhears these elderly people talking about going to the cops. He asks why and they tell him. They've been consistently getting shipments of drugs every week. Eli had typed in the wrong address, and the guy he was talking to had been sending more and more to the wrong person each week because he felt so bad. He was so sketched out that he quit everything and is now doing quite well for himself. Proud of him. Not gonna lie, this felt strangely sweet by the time I got to the end of it, all things considered. Like, yes, I know it's a story about drugs and the dark web, but I can sort of just imagine the dealer panicking because he's gonna get a bad review. So he just kept sending more without receiving any reply from the buyer. It is fully bad business practices for a pretty unethical business to begin with. That being said, I kind of have a little sympathy for the dealer. Story 2. Okay, this is probably either one of the stupidest decisions of my life, or it may just be the only redeeming thing I have ever done. So, you all know about Silk Road, the defunct online drug market that was shut down on October 13. The man sentenced to life for running it, Ross Ulbricht, is not the only guy who ran it. I don't think he was too involved at all. I have since moved, and the person I'm about to talk about has gone ghost as well. So, here it goes. I spent a few months dating this guy, considerably older, who was probably running the website for 80% of the time. He was always online logged in and many times in front of me. Not only used the Dread Pirate Roberts account, but also chatted with who I now believe was the Ulbricht boy. My former significant other often joked that this kid was essentially his robot and worshipped him. I know he had probably over 2,500 bitcoins at one point. I saw other things that he's stupid for flaunting, such as his conversations that he would decrypt and save to USB drives as insurance, his words, of him discussing things with police. Either he was an informant or he had them working for him. I think both. I know for a period of about 8 or 9 months that Ulbricht had not logged into the site portal because my ex-significant other became paranoid that the guy might have been arrested or killed or turned informant. He pops back up and they start chatting like old buddies. Supposedly he was hanging out with family and having personal problems. I don't know the specifics and I've never told a soul. When they arrested this boy, my ex took off. Said he was going to visit his parents and lay low for a bit, and then abruptly vanished. I did see him as last online X hours ago on WhatsApp here and there, so thankfully he's not dead or in jail, I think. For those who might think I could be getting him in trouble and I'm being vengeful or a rat, no I ain't. He's not a US citizen and is most likely not in the US. Okay, referencing Opie's last few sentences, let me clarify that I am not the maker of this post. So if anyone gets mad we included it, please don't pin it on me. I've never dated anyone more than a year older than me, so I can guarantee I wasn't dating some shady older guy not from the States. Now, back to the original story. I do think this is kind of the thing maybe you want to keep a little more hush-hush. Just enjoy the nice gifts you got and keep it on the down low. Story 3. This was back before Google. Web pages were, for the most part, still very basic HTML with JavaScript. Hardly anyone used CSS. Only discussion boards and some banking sites had anything approaching mature front-end, back-end combinations, etc. Early, net, real, deep web story. Not just one about illicit activities online. I was browsing random blogs, geosite sites, and the like, just going from link to link. Eventually, I came upon an odd page. It appeared to be random thoughts from different people, but for the time it was very well designed. The messages seemed to be cryptic in nature, like several people trying to pass secret notes. I started through the source, and hidden in the comments of a JavaScript were various IP addresses. I gathered all the IPs in a text file and began enumerating. Some were routers with banner messages. I could telenet to. Almost all at universities. Warning, this is a secure system at University of blah blah blah. The default Cisco credentials from back in the day worked on most of them, but I didn't poke around. A few of the IPs were web servers with little to nothing on them, mostly Apache on Linux or some BSD, at least one IIS server I can recall. I finally came upon a web server with a huge directory of HTML files and TIFF images, with a few smaller subdirectories containing the same. NS lookup returned to reverse records for the IP. A visual route traced it as far as Colorado. The HTML files appeared to be records a psychologist or similar mental health professional would keep. The images were of faxes, apparently of both military and medical nature. As I browsed from a subdirectory back to the parent, at the top of it was a new HTML file labeled something like 1.hellothere.html. The timestamp was from right that minute. I opened it, and in plain text message was the message, "We see you." No quotes, all lowercase. About 15 seconds later, the server dropped. Somebody commented, "This is like a super nerdy, geeky short horror story that one might tell around a campfire at a LAN party." Story 4. The majority of these stories will all be the same because they all come from people who download Tor and when exploring or browsing. The vast majority have found the hidden wiki and clicked on some links. There is a fundamental misunderstanding here of what the dark web is designed to do. Those links from the hidden wiki and other point-and-click entry sites are designed to be found. The most obvious are the darknet markets. They want customers. They put their URLs out there. They list themselves on the wiki and other Tor directories. They don't want the sites to be hidden, just the owners or servers. If you were to go to one of the directories that crawls and links all the live URLs it can find, most of them would be listed as unknown. Some will take you to a site you can look at anyway, but a lot of them will take you to a page where it simply asks for your credentials before you can go any further. There's nothing else. No link to register, no FAQ, no indication of what is behind that password login. The whole idea of Tor's hidden services is that they are hidden from anybody who doesn't have the credentials to get into them. You have to get them in some other way. There's no referral links being spammed on Reddit or the Intel Exchange or general access forums. Some of these sites may be safe havens for descendants to discuss stuff. Some of them might be the dark, spooky places of the no-sleep stories. But chances are none of us will ever know what is behind 99% of them. Too long, didn't read. The only stuff you will find by browsing the dark web is the stuff other people have found. I think OP makes a really good point here, that the likelihood of stumbling across something that is truly off limits is relatively low. At least nothing you should be too concerned about on those sites having your IP address. That being said, I still don't think it's safe to just kind of go stumbling around to different sites looking for random crap. Story 5. Throwaway cause illegalness. I was big into Bitcoin when the Silk Road thing happened, and I got into buying certain merchandise online. The first time I was very nervous about the potential of getting caught, so I decided to have the first product sent to my office. I had addressed generically to the IT department, and my boss, who's a good friend, was going to keep an eye on it for me. I figured this would give me enough deniability if it was intercepted. Things went very wrong. It came in, and instead of the package going to my boss, it went to his boss. Now, the company I worked for at the time is a very large behemoth with access to credit information on just about everyone in the US. Every employee is drug tested and we have random tests. This would be a huge issue. So I was at lunch when the package was delivered and open. I was actually coming back when I got a call from a project manager. "Hey, so did you have anything sent to the office?" "No, nothing. Why?" "Duh, not gonna admit to this." "Nothing strange sent here?" "Nope." "Well, boss's boss just received a package and it contains marijuana marijuana. Well, I had enough deniability that while plenty of people suspected me, I got off. I learned something about my boss's boss that day. He didn't tell anyone upstream about it, and rumor has it that he took it home and smoked it. Somebody commented, "You mailed drugs to your workplace? Well, you are an idiot." Story 6. Obviously a throwaway. This is from way back when SR1 was still going strong. I was looking for a certain substance, but I couldn't find it in my part of the world for a decent price. Posted my request on the forum, and after a few days someone messages me with an offer. For some reason I accepted it and sent him around $200. Of course, I got scammed. I didn't think much of it, but posted a warning to others about this guy, saying he scammed me out of $200. A few days later, I got a message in my inbox saying something like this: "Hey, I am a vendor and this guy tried to scam me too. He just ordered an ounce of MDMA from me and an ounce of sweet sugar crystals are on the way to his mailbox. Please send me your BTC address and I will send you the $200 he scammed you out of." The next day, I had my $200 back and a deep respect for the dark web community. Too long, didn't read. Guy scams me out of $200, someone else scams him of $700 and refunds me my money. Another strangely sweet story where the dealer turns out to be a relatively chill person who actually just wants to do their job well. I always like to think of Breaking Bad and the difference between Walt and Jesse as like the two ends of potential drug dealers. Story 7. Honestly, it's not as exciting as a lot of people make it out to be. There are plenty of hitmen, but I am guessing 90% of them are cops or a scam. Plenty of drugs. Some guns. There is plenty of snuff, but you can find stuff on Reddit, so it's not anything special. Overall, I wasn't looking to get arrested, so I didn't do anything besides browse the hidden wiki. Fun story, I used Tor in middle school to get past the websites that were blocked so I could play Congregate. You had to enable Flash for it to work because obviously you needed to play Flash games, but you aren't supposed to enable Flash on Tor because it allows you to be traced. I really didn't care though because I was only using it for Congregate. Story 8. Found someone selling a wish pill online. Basically, you take the pill, make a wish, and it's supposed to make it come true. It just made me laugh how much they were trying to sell it off as something real. They made up fake elements that were supposedly found in nature and showed videos of them making the pill, which is really just a bunch of blue lights being flashed at the screen. They were selling it for $100 a pill. The sad thing is there are probably a few idiots who actually bought it. Story 9. Way back in the day, beyond the terms of a statute of limitations, you used to be able to use Casa and LimeWare and stuff to look at people's entire computers, since they were stupid and set the entire computer to share. I used to send out an email a day to random people pointing out the pictures of them fricking their husband, wife, girlfriend, etc. And their social security number were freely available, along with instructions on how to uninstall Casa and LimeWare. Somebody commented, "Coming to college, the shared dorm networks were a goldmine. Noticed, uninstalled, never said anything to anyone. Uncharacteristic restraint looking back. I guess maybe it's no fun when it's that easy." Not gonna lie to you guys, I have no idea how to protect my computer other than basic firewalls and protection. That being said, there's not a lot of incriminating or bad stuff on my computer, because I'm honestly terrified of people like these jerks. Story 10. I decided to check out one of the successor sites soon after the Silk Road was busted. They had 2 or 3 crappy-looking guns for several $1,000s apiece, some weed, and a metric crap ton of weird research drugs. I was hoping to see things I might recognize like cocaine or LSD, but instead I got random mixes of letters and numbers and various pills or powder. It was a lot less exciting than I thought it would be. Story 11. I bought 10 strips of acid on the original Silk Road. The guy didn't deliver. He was a reputable seller to lots of 5-star reviews. I just happened to be one of the last customers before he absenced. Had a friend that bought a lot of Molly and other stuff. He never had a similar experience. Don't use it for RCs. You can get those a lot cheaper in forums. My friend got some cheap 4-ACO DMT that way. I think my work as an EMT has definitely scared me away from the thought of using hard drugs like these kind of stuff. But it is always so shocking to me that you can buy hard drugs like these just casually on the internet. The devil's lettuce? Sure, I get it. But being able to buy Molly online? Now that is still wild to me. Story 12. Back when IRC was on its way out and P2P was in its infancy, I tried to download The Sims via private FTP. The guy I downloaded found a Trojan on my computer and walked me through how to remove it. I would take a bullet for that dude. Story 13. I was 19 and wanted to buy a fake ID, but found out that you had to buy Bitcoins and I didn't feel like figuring it out, so I gave up. This was maybe a year or so before Bitcoin blew up. I could be living on the moon right now, but I didn't feel like it. Story 14. When the drugs arrive and you look in the mail and the only thing going through your head is, holy crap, I can't believe there are drugs in my mailbox that someone shipped me. It's a high in and of itself. See, this is kind of what I was trying to say earlier. Just the idea you don't have to have an in-person dealer and can just order them online with no tracing back to you is crazy. It honestly makes me wonder how many people I know who have or still do stuff like this on the regular. Story 15. Found a guy selling carrots. Like, it wasn't code for anything. He was literally just selling carrots for Bitcoin. 10 out of 10 would visit again. Somebody commented, I'm just imagining him shrink wrapping and discreetly shipping like a pound of carrots. Story 16. There was a German man selling pretzels. Just pretzels.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.